Howdy, 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 howdy. How's everybody? As you can see, we're open for business. This is Ron Tucker at Ron's Talking on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Appreciate any likes. Throw some comments at me if you will. Need to know what you're thinking, how you feel. Got some suggestions for me? That'd be cool too. I'm wide open. Open anything except bad check. Can't run with those. I don't mind. Boy, back in the day, I didn't mind writing a few, but it was because of circumstances beyond my control. But I don't do that anymore. So I'm good. Anyway, enough of my sordid history. Let's jump into things today. Today is only Monday, and the Republican Party, the GOP, the party of Trump, whatever you want to call it nowadays, Lord have mercy, they are acting like just lunatics. That's one of the ways I can describe it. There is really nothing that these people won't talk about, won't do, won't they'll just gravitate to anything, and it's all pinned on racism. Donald Trump knows that the best way for him to reach his people is to talk about racial issues, and he had his little rally at Madison Square Garden, which was appropriate for the symbolic aspects of the whole thing, kind of mimicking the Madison Square Garden rally that was held way back in the day with the Nazis. So, in true Trump fashion, I guess he figured him and his campaign might as well just rehash and reignite the old ashes and embers of a long gone past situation where we had, and we still have them, we had a big Nazi convention there in Madison Square Garden, and they copped to it. The GOP has copped to it. One of their speakers I saw, he admitted, he said, I didn't know I was going to be at a Nazi rally, but here I am. So I guess he's glad he was there and he showed up. It's almost indescribable what we're going through right now, dealing with this man and his idiocy, his penchant to just desecrate our democracy, just tear down all the borders and all the walls and all the guardrails of the things that keep people like him in check. And he wants to be a dictator. He said from day one, that's what he wants to do, at least for one day. And we know one day leads to 1 year, and then 2 years into 4. So I don't think anybody is surprised on either side of where Trump is, because we really know basically what he stands for, what he's trying to do. The man is merely just fighting for his life in a sense of staying out of jail. He is a total waste, and he is the epitome of incompetence. He's not trying to be a president for all the people. He first and foremost is looking out for his behind. Now, since he knows he's got a formidable challenger in Kamala Harris, well documented, well known, it's obvious to most people, he's really just coming unglued and just unraveling right before our eyes. I told people that I'm close to, that I knew, and I wasn't the only one, of course, but I predicted a long time ago that the longer this campaign stretches out before we hit November the 5th, you just watch. And I said this to my family members. If Trump has months leading up to the election, which he has when Kamala took over as the front runner, he was just going to lose his mind because he's not used to dealing with this type of pressure. And the pressure he's under is immense. There's no question about it. Just no question. Everywhere he looks, he's not sure of what's going to happen because he has no control over the outcome of this election. And that scares him. And I think the possibilities of him losing to this female, a black female, current vice president, is almost overwhelming to him. But he's hanging in there with his lies and fear mongering and stuff like that. That's his hallmark. That's his calling card. And that's the only thing he really has to hang his hat on, along with his other sycophants like Stephen Miller and, all the people that kind of, I guess, support his lunacy and his madness, trying to keep him fed with a bunch of BS about how great he is and he's doing good and all this. They continue to try to bolster his confidence. To what degree is waning is anybody's guess, because he's going to say in public, of course, that he's winning, he's leading in all the polls, he's going to beat her and blah, blah, blah. But this thing in Madison Square Garden with them just going ape shit. I mean, I watched a little excerpt of the thing because I couldn't stand to watch the full convention with these nutty speakers they have parading up there. Almost all of them just spouting hatred, vitriol. You got Dr. Phil, which I have no respect for, and he's just pathetic. He's showing his ignorance by trying to pander to Trump and making people think he is so intelligent because he's the renowned Dr. Phil, talking about, America was built by, I guess he was talking about the hard work, he probably wanted to say white people solely and exclusively, but we all know the truth of whose backs the brunt of all that hard work was on, and it damn sure wasn't white people. No offense to my white friends, but I'm just like a baseball umpire. I call the strikes and balls like I see them. And I ain't going to miss no words over it. I ain't trying to hurt no feelings, but if the truth hurts, call a doctor. Dr. Phil, Hulk Hogan, some clown of a comedian, forget his name because his name is forgettable to me. I don't even care to remember his name, but y'all can look it up for yourself and see his name. I think his name was Hinchclaw or Hinch, for that, whatever. This fool got up there and just thought that he was at the Improv or something. Thought everything he was saying was funny about talking about Puerto Ricans and his watermelon jokes about blacks and all these kind of things that shows the depth of depravity that the so-called GOP has fallen into. And they've got it all to blame to themselves. Now, they call it Puerto Ricans. This guy, he said that Puerto Ricans is, I guess, how did he put it? A piece of land that's floating on the ocean, or an island on the ocean that is basically garbage. Puerto Rico. He named the island, and he denigrated it, and basically called the Puerto Rican people trash. And he talked a whole bunch of trash. So those are the kind of people that Donald Trump and his entourage That's who they hang with, folks. That ain't no mystery. People want to always downplay the fact that, oh well, Trump, he's not really. No, Trump, he wouldn't. He's not gonna do. He didn't say. He didn't mean. Oh, he well. They always want to interpret what that man says, and they know damn well what he meant by what he said. Anytime he says it, what Trump feels is like he knows most of the people that follow him are ignorant and stupid and gullible. So whatever he says just goes right over their head. And he likes it that way. The man has already said in public that he likes uneducated folks. Those kind of people he knows he can manipulate easily. Now the ones who have got an education, they too smart to know they dumb. So they got their own reasons for running behind this clown and supporting him. The Grant Cardones is, the billionaire people like him, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. All of those rich folks and billionaires out there, they doing it just so they can get that savings on their taxes to keep that money in their coffers. That's all it's about. They gives a damn about Trump. They know Trump is an end to a means, and they'll ride his coattails as long as it saves them that loot. And that's their bottom line, okay? And I've said it hundreds of times. Ain't nobody really scared of Donald Trump, the man, if you want to call him a man. But they're afraid of the backlash from his base if you don't acquiesce to kissing his behind. That's all it is, and there's no more complicated than that. It's very, very simple. Okay? And they're all using each other for purposes, for reasons. Now, I understand right now that Trump's kind of ticked off about old baby girl, his daughter Ivanka, because she hasn't been fully supporting his campaign efforts. And it's probably because she's smarter than him, because she's tired of all the bullshit that they went through 8 years ago. Living a lie, fraudsters, the grifting, all that kind of stuff. She saw and still sees the downward spiral of her father. And even if this ignorant clown became president again, you think you saw a shit show 8 years ago leading up to the present? You ain't seen nothing yet, okay? Us Democrats, honestly, we're trying to do you Republicans a favor by doing our best to keep his ass out of office. Because y'all are hell-bent on getting what y'all really deserve. So y'all just keep on messing around and trying to install his ass in the White House again and see what the calamity is going to be like. It's a certainty. If that first run back in 2016 to 2019 didn't give you enough of a reason to look at him and say, oh, hell no. We don't want to see your ass up in here again. After everything you done from COVID to Charlottesville to the Capitol on January the 6th and a whole lot of other BS that was in between. Come on, man. Everybody's seen this resume. And they always want to talk about, well, we don't know what Kamala is. We don't know what she's like. We don't know what she's going to do. She ain't disclosing her policy. She don't have a plan. But you've seen Trump. And you're still seeing Trump. You've seen Trump's plans for damn near a decade. And what did he say about his plans? I have a concept. That's all you're going to get out of him. And he wants to get back in that White House so he can clown again and do virtually nothing. The first lie he told, a lot of you people still don't remember it. A lot of you heard it and you thought he was going to, like I said, promises, how that phrase go? Promises made, promises kept, something like that. All right. The reason I couldn't really remember it too well Because if Trump said it, you might as well forget it. It ain't gonna happen. We already saw that with the first lie he told, or at least the boldest lie he told. And I'm gonna bring it up again, folks, for all you people who got selective memory and memory loss and amnesia at the highest level. Mexico gonna pay for his border wall. They didn't. So that was the launching pad of his lies. And we're still waiting on Mexico to send him that check. Okay. Ain't gonna never happen. Okay. Now, right now, to this day, Trump and his minions are always talking about, which is bewildering to me, Kamala Harris is the border czar. How come she didn't do anything about the border? Her policies aren't this and her policies aren't that, and everything is all Kamala Harris's fault because of her policies. Well, last time I checked, and I didn't major in political science when I was at Indiana University. I thought, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, that I didn't think a vice president really set any policies while they are a VP. I thought that was the president's role. I could be ignorant to that. I could be wrong. Won't be the first time in my life I've been wrong about something. See, unlike Trump, I'll admit if I'm wrong. He doesn't have that capacity to do that in any kind of form or fashion. But anyway, back to that. They want to blame Kamala Harris on the Biden administration because obviously she's the front runner and nominee for the presidential, campaign. And if she wins, of course, she become president. So I understand their strategy, but it's so misguided and misplaced. But they'll try to run it because they're going to try to throw it against people that they know ain't really got it up the stair. They ain't dealing with a full deck. She is not the president. Did Mike Pence set any policies when he was the VP under Trump? No. Because that's not his role. Just like it's not her role to set policies when she's not the head. Okay? But they will continue to say things like that because they don't have anything else to really say. They run out of things other than talking about the way she laughs and she's not black or this or that. Their arguments became so diluted because they didn't have much substance to them anyway, if at all. But that cracks me up all the time when they try to blame the border crisis on her. And it ain't really no crisis. It's just something that is a talking point for the GOP so they can have something to bellyache and bitch about. And we all know, at least most of them on the Republican side don't want to fully admit it. When that topic comes up about how Trump engineered the bill to be shot down that could have really benefited the border situation, they don't want to talk about that because they know he did it. He asked for it, and as usual, the Republican Party acquiesced and gave him what he wanted. Most Republicans in the House and Senate did exactly what Trump asked them to do. Don't pass the bill because it's not going to make me look good. Patriots. Love of their country. Bunch of bullshitters. That's all they're about. They don't give a damn about this country. They just fixate on trying to get the orange man back in office at all costs. That's what it boils down to. But anyway, to finish up this little talk about the border, my question to Trump and his followers, if Trump was such a great president as they all claim he is and say he is, and he's a stable genius who can do everything, fix everything, do anything. He's the man. So how come in 4 years you didn't take care of the border crisis while you were in office? I'll wait. Let me hit this coffee for a second. Y'all tell me what your answer is. Anybody figured it out yet? How come the genius, Mr. Only I, can make it happen? How come he, in 4 years, he had 4 years. Kamala Harris is, again, the vice president of the United States. They want to blame it all on her because now it's convenient because she's all up in Trump's ass in this campaign. How come Trump didn't take care of it and handle it like he claimed he was going to do? Anybody? Anybody got a guess? Seems not. Probably the main reason is we all know when he was president, he was too busy holding rallies, playing golf, grifting, making money at government expense, and pretty much sitting on his fat ass doing nothing. Case in point, the COVID crisis, the COVID situation, the COVID virus, everything just morphed into something larger and more devastating under his watch. And what response did our fearless leader give the American public? It's going to go away. It's going to disappear. It's like a common cold, like the flu. That's leadership, folks, right? All you Republicans who believe that this fool is the greatest leader, in his words, he's greater than Lincoln, Washington, or any other president before him and after him. If he was so damn great, how come he didn't get reelected? Anybody got any guesses again? Anybody know? He got booted his ass out. And also, now that he got that felony collar around his neck, you got people still who thinks that that man is worthy of being president again. It is really a damn shame. The sheer incompetence. Most of these people don't want to look back at the Trump years and go back and look at the archives of how great he did when he was president. He was an abject failure and a buffoon. And still is. Same man got all them bankruptcies on his ass. Same man who bankrupted a damn casino. If you can't keep a money-making machine like a casino running, and you bankrupt that too with your other bankruptcies and your failed university, you had to call for $25 million because you don't know how to run nothing but your mouth. And he does a good job of running them chops. But it's a shame. They want to denigrate her, Kamala Harris, and talk about all her shortcomings, but she's showing up at town halls, showed up at interviews, challenged him to another debate. Nope. He refuses everything. He wouldn't even go on 60 Minutes, and she wasn't even going to be on there. He must have been frightened that she was going to be lurking around the alley or something, or in the studio while he was there, so he didn't want that pressure on him. He didn't want to be nowhere near or seen nowhere with her, because he know what time it is. And even right now, and one thing he was true. He was right about it. He said this time, this is the first time Trump ever really said something that you can just count on. He wasn't going to debate her again. And he kept his word. So I give him credit on that one. Well, you know, most of the time I start off my videos talking about this coyote called Donald Trump. That's what he is to me, just a hyena. And just to watch him go through all these gyrations, these machinations, and watch all of his supporters just flailing around, and everything's about race, and it just shows you how this man feels about this country. And then this light bulb head Stephen Miller, he gonna get his ass up there on the damn podium in Madison Square Garden and yell and scream about America is only for Americans only and all this. He's the architect of all the racism that spews out of Trump's mouth. I firmly believe that, because ever since he's been on the scene with Trump, any interview he's involved in, anytime he's talking about something, is that nascent, unmistakable dislike and hatred for minorities. He's just seething with hatred and racism. I don't know why he don't even just put on a hood while he's out there speaking to people, because you can see he got Klan written all over him. And ain't it funny also when it comes to racism? The Trump family was out there on the waters boating and stuff and trying to promote Trump on their little boating excursion a few days ago. And just like the scent of a skunk, here come the Nazis trailing their boats in their boats. How come Nazis and white supremacists and Klan people always end up around the Trumps, around their campaign? It's kind of simple. That old adage, birds of a feather. They ain't never too far from Donald. Because remember, Donald feel like there's fine people over there. He's so pathetic. It defies description. Let me switch gears a little bit and got to get a little bit off my mind about the way law enforcement interacts with us, minorities. I think some people remember the untimely death of a young black man named Ronald Green. I think it was back in 2019. And Mr. Green, he was killed at the hands of about 5 Louisiana officers. And it's interesting how they beat the hell out of that man and killed him. But I'm trying to figure out, why did it take 2 years before any body cam evidence was released to the public? And why did the police lie about his cause of death initially? What was the cover-up all about? This trooper named Corey York, he just avoided jail time, and his charges were dropped from homicide to a misdemeanor battery against this man. This man's dead. And the cop walks away. Basically, keeps his $83,000 a year pension intact. And it's just incredible how we always see this same story repeating itself over and over again when it comes to cops and their the way they treat black people. Now, one of those hyenas that beat Mr. Green, and again, they beat him to death. The man was screaming for his life, trying to plead with them, just begging him, talking about I'm your brother, I'm scared, don't keep beating on me. No, those vultures, they didn't care. They didn't care. It's amazing how people, and I'm just gonna strip away the police uniform. I'm mystified as to how people, other human beings, can be so cruel and vicious to another man, another human. It's sad, it's despicable. But hell, us humans, we do the same thing to dogs and other animals. So I guess the viciousness in our DNA just transcends from animals to humans to anything else that we can find to destroy. So, but it's just the world and the life we live in, and it just makes me shake my head. But you know, Mr. Green, he met a vicious, horrible death at the hands of our law enforcement people. But the guy that was one of the ringleaders, I think if you believe in karma, he kind of met his fate, and he it caught up with him about a year later because he was involved in a single vehicle crash in 2020, hours after he learned he was going to get fired anyway after that incident in 2019. So maybe some justice was served after all. And from all indications, this officer, his name was Chris Hollingsworth, he committed suicide basically by crashing his vehicle into a guardrail doing about 100 miles per hour. Now, the police tried to list his death as accidental, but the fact of the matter was he was sober, he was not wearing a seatbelt, and he was also a state police driving instructor, so he knew how to handle that vehicle. But they claim that they think he fell asleep at the wheel. The chief medical officer and an examiner said, it's kind of hard to be asleep doing 100 miles per hour. So, but they're going to try to cover their tracks and cover their own and protect them. Now, before he died, Mr. Hollingsworth used the same tired excuse after they had all got busted, talking about he feared for his life while he and his criminal buddies were bludgeoning Mr. Green to death. That old tired cover-up tactic. No matter what the victim wasn't doing, the officers were always fearing for his life, even when the guy's in a prone position getting beat half to death. But let's move on to Virginia, where 5 detectives, 5 of them now, were fired after they beat a black man to death in June of this year. Now, this was less than a half hour after he had been arrested for trespassing. He happened to be restrained at the time when they beat him down. And I'm sure that was another incident of, I feared for my life. 5 deputies on a frail young black man. Now, the reason why I say he's frail, because that's what his family described the guy's physical build. It didn't take no 5 guys to do him in, but they run in packs sometimes, like I said, like hyenas. Now, my question is, why would all 5 of these guys get fired, but no arrest or charges have been filed yet? What did they do to get fired? I don't know. It's a mystery to me. Now, the state police says they are investigating, which is code for we ain't going to do shit but provide window dressing and the word salads just to cover up, because we are trying to cook up something just to smooth everything over and justify what we done. Standard procedures. It's amazing. And then people wonder why black folks and maybe other minorities don't trust law enforcement. wonder why. Why is that? Why is it like that? Now, let's move on to Vegas, where this Vegas cop got his ass locked up this year for orchestrating multiple unlawful arrests of black men. Sound kind of familiar? He was charged with perjury, oppression under color of office, threats or use of physical force and battery. And of course, we trust the police with our lives and our safety. Okay, let's move on to some more comedy here. Remember the three white stooges down there in Georgia that killed that black man, Ahmaud Arbery? He was jogging through their residential neighborhood, so they just assumed since he was black, he up to something. So they came on with the vigilante hats and everything, and decided to take matters in their own hands. So that was in 2020. They ended up all three of them getting locked up for murder. So of course, now that those days and months and years are wearing on their asses, this lawyer for one of the guys, there was a McMichael's crew, Travis McMichael, the young, supremely ignorant son of his pappy, Greg McMichael. Their lawyers now are seeking a new trial because, now get this, a black juror, the only black juror in the jury pool, he allegedly, years later, has told a private investigator was hired by the defense team in 2022, 2 years ago, after the triplets were locked up for murder. And so they claimed this black guy stated that he felt the whole weight of the whole black race was on his shoulders. I don't even know what that really means as far as what they expect this juror to do to help them overturn the verdict in that case. I don't know. White men, they love to execute and take a black man's life. But when it comes to that prison time, it's a bitch for them to deal with it. You see, you motherfuckers still get to sleep, eat, drink, and have sex while y'all locked up. So what's the problem? Mr. Arbery, he's dead. And so the McMichaels and the other friend of theirs, that other clown, they crying the blues now. Wait a minute. Maybe the problem is the sex partner. Maybe they aren't as feminine as they would like for them to be. Well, I'm sure they'll fulfill all your fantasies in due time because y'all got a lot of time to figure that stuff. And, I'm sure they'll fit y'all with the proper attire, to make y'all feel comfortable. But anyway, my other question is, why is it taking 4+ years to finish the criminal misconduct of that Brunswick County DA? What's her name? Her name was Jackie Johnson. Yeah, she was the chick with the DA, and she was trying to cover up for the McMichaels because the old man McMichael used to work for her. So the Georgia AG's office found that she was illegally using her position to protect old man Arbery and his son. Her case is still pending right now. It's been pending since 2020 after she was voted out of office. So my question is, what's up, Georgia? How come it's taking 4 years for y'all to go ahead and finish what y'all have already said she allegedly has done? What's the hold up? She's white. You ain't wasting no time trying to jump on Fannie Willis over a love affair. But this chick, this white woman, she been bouncing around, traipsing around, kicking it for 4 years now, and they still ain't taking care of her ass. That's justice in America. Just the same. Just a different day. And now I'll see, last but not least, that Donald Trump has got the audacity, the nerve, the unmitigated gall. I would say the balls, but kind of dubious with him, you know. He wants an apology from Tim Walz. Because Mr. Walz said something derogatory about the Nazi rally that they had at MSG. Because Mr. Walz cited the fact that they had a Nazi rally back in the 1930s. This thing is eerily similar to that one. And you had a cavalcade of individuals stepping up to the podium, just spewing every bit of racist hatred. They're pathetic. It's pitiful. This is where America is right now, folks. This clown, Trump, and his crew wants to talk about everybody and anybody and denigrate them. And he got the nerve, his campaign, I guess, whoever's calling the shots, I don't think Trump's smart enough to do all this stuff. It's his henchmen, his underlings behind him. But in order for them to keep on deflecting and keep playing these stupid, silly, trivial, childish games with the American public and just trying to confuse people and fuck with people's heads and all this shit, they want to run up to the American public now and point their fingers at the Walz and Harris campaign and say they should apologize for Trump's racist behaviors. Go figure. That's where America's at right now, folks. And y'all still think that this craven, corrupt, racist, despicable individual is worthy of being the president of the United States. He's just a veritable walking shit show. And America seems like at least almost half of them are falling for it. You see what kind of shit's on display with Trump and his people. That's what you're going to expect out of him if he were to become commander-in-chief again, because he wants another bite of the apple. And everybody knows and everybody sees he's unhinged, and all you're going to get is more of the same bullshit from him, because he's only in it for one reason, and that's to save his hiney. That's it. So I'm going to close it out. With that being said, I'm back on the case. I've been away for a few days, but I'm revving it up for this stretch run. So you'll be seeing more of me. All you folks, take care of yourself. God bless you, and stay safe in America if you can. I am out.